Deadpool 1, I love Deadpool 2. I'm really excited for this one. It's going to be great to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. As much as I loved Logan, I believe they're doing the whole TVA multiverse thing. There's going to be a different Wolverine from a different universe. In fact, let's hit play and see what this is all about.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go. Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider. I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now.
Boys are so silly.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence. Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Wanna do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even forest bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, but I can't.
That's a pretty fucking hype trailer, if I don't say so myself. I love the first two movies for Deadpool. Some of the best movies. I'm glad this is still R-rated, they're still swearing and have very gratuitous violence. Hang on, let me go through the trailer and point out as many things as I can, because I'm a big nerd when it comes to Marvel, and X-Men specifically. Let's see how many things I can spot through this trailer here. So I'm going to mute it so I don't get DMCA'd or anything. We'll start off with this shot. Yeah, we've got Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. He looks great in the yellow suit as well. Like, they didn't want to have him in the yellow suit in the original X-Men movies, purely because they thought it looked too stupid and too comic booky, but it looks pretty cool in this, especially when it contrasts with Deadpool's red suit. I think it looks good. Although he's not wearing the mask, I imagine they don't want to cover the face they paid, however much they paid Hugh Jackman for this movie, right? They paid to have his face in this movie, they're going to make sure he shows it off, right? I do love the opening of this trailer starting with an erectile dysfunction joke about his claws. He had a similar issue in the start of Logan where he couldn't get his claws out properly. I imagine it's probably, might even be the same issue because he's really old now, who knows? I like that his gun has smile, wait for the flash engraved on it. I believe he's also doing similar, I can't remember which comic book it was. I don't read many Deadpool comics. But I do know he's had things engraved on his gun before. I'm not sure if it's that exact quote or it might be something else. And I only know that purely because I've seen memes of it everywhere else. And I've only read like a couple of Deadpool comics. I'll be honest, I couldn't really get into it. The humor in the comics are a lot more juvenile. And they're not quite as... I think the humor in the movies has worked a lot. I tried quite a few before I gave up on it. So I did give it a good chance. I really like the X-Men, okay? To be honest though, I'm not a massive fan of X-Men comics. They are very hit and miss. I think it's the case for a lot of comic book storylines though. Some of them are really fucking good. And then you'll get the ones in between where it's like, they just seem to go on forever and not all that interesting. Okay, I'm not sure if anyone else spotted this when they watched it, but it's the first thing that stuck out to me. It's the 20th Century Fox logo sticking out of the ground there. So I think they're going to directly reference the fact that Disney paid to buy Fox and all of its IP, including the X-Men. So I know Deadpool loves to break the fourth wall. I think they're going to take it an extra step and literally show the demise of 20th Century Fox. I do love the yellow suit on him. I think it looks great, the comic book accurate. Now you got Yukiko back from Deadpool 2, which I love, right? So I love the whole Yukiko Negasonic Teenage Warhead like subplot in Deadpool 2. And what I've been posting a lot about X-Men 97 and how everyone's mad about it being woke. And then when I ask them to give me an example of a non-woke movie that they like, they always bring up Deadpool 1 and 2, despite the fact that Deadpool 2 literally had an LGBT couple in the movie that Wade constantly acknowledges. And for some reason, whenever I bring that up, then they suddenly click on and say, oh yeah, that's a woke thing. I like the way they've got it grayscaled out here, but they're in color. Like, that's a really I'm someone who's done color grading stuff before because I've worked in like video editing and such. It can be a very tedious thing. So I hope whoever did this got paid correctly for it. Because I know Marvel have been very bad when it comes to overworking and underpaying their editors and CGI artists and such. But yeah, so there's a scene of him. This is the TVA from Loki, the Time Variance Authority. I'm not sure if it takes place during, before, or after the series of Loki. I'm assuming it takes place after season 2 of Loki. I could be wrong. I don't know, because you don't see, it's hard to tell because you don't see any of the characters from the show in here, so you can't tell when it takes place. But this is how they're going to sort of introduce the whole idea of the multiverse. Which in the previous trailer, Deadpool called the cinematic universe. And, you know, the idea of different Wolverines, and apparently he's picked the most depressed one. That guy also has a broken nose. I imagine Deadpool did that to him. Or maybe Wolverine. Could be either one of them. Okay. He gets circumcised by Wolverine in this scene, which is one of my favorite jokes, actually, in regards to both Deadpool and Wolverine, because they both have a healing factor and can regenerate. There's an ongoing joke sort of in the community that neither of them can be circumcised because their foreskin will just keep growing back. So this is a good shot though. Like, you can still feel pain, and there's gonna be maybe a short fight between them, having a lovers quarrel. This is another one. So you can see there's a sign in the background that says Copperhead. Copperhead is actually a villain. Also, it's the same name for a villain in Batman. So like, and Marvel and DC had a history of sort of copying each other for a long time. That includes like making the same type of character with a different name, and then like swapping names around here and there. One of the most infamous ones being Shazam was originally called Captain Marvel, and we had the whole Deadpool, Deathstroke, Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson thing. So this could be like maybe a reference to that sort of thing. Could also be a gang name. I don't know. Copperhead is a very sort of common name when it comes to media and, like, you know, criminal organizations, I guess. Or it just could be a sign that I'm reading too much into. How tall is Ryan Reynolds? Because they look the same height here, but I know Hugh Jackman, and specifically even the character of Wolverine, is actually quite short. But yeah, they seem to be the same height here, judging by where their heads sort of meet those signs in the background. And I would assume that Ryan Reynolds will be taller than Hugh Jackman. When I first saw that shot here, I thought, is that the ancient one from Doctor Strange? Right? At first it threw me, but I'm pretty sure that's the villain. There's Ant-Man's head, apparently. I've not watched the most recent Ant-Man movie, so I have no idea what happened. I don't know if it's continuing on from that one, but there's a skull inside of it. So I don't know if this everyone shrunk down, or maybe he just grew really big and happened to be decapitated here. To be honest, I wasn't really that into the Ant-Man movies. I watched the first one, I thought it was okay. Was not invested in the character at all. In fact, a lot of MCU properties, like, if I don't like the character or whatever, I don't bother keeping up with it. Because they have been hit and miss. They got the same problem as the comic books now, where you probably need to, like, sort of catch up on a dozen other movies before you can properly enjoy whatever the most recent one is. And who knows, maybe that would get retconned later on anyway. Like, one of the things that made me dip out of Marvel specifically is just how quickly they retcon things. So the biggest gripes for me have been at the end of Endgame and was it No Way Home? I think it was, yeah. So the whole end of Endgame, they showed Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy were teaming up for the next movie, and then the next movie immediately within like 10 minutes they split off again, and it becomes a Thor movie. So like they whole hyped up this whole Thor and the Asgardians of the Galaxy movie. They even had a title for it and everything, and then they completely redid the movie. So that whole like it wasn't even a post-credit scene. That was an actual scene within the movie. That was just completely irrelevant. They could have just cut that out at that point because it set up something that never got paid off. And my biggest one is the whole Venom being in No Way Home, where they show him appear in a post-credit scene, show him, in the world of the MCU, and then at the end of No Way Home, he just leaves again and leaves the time of the symbiote behind. And at that point, I think I just mentally clocked out because that entire post-credit scene teased something that never really happened. And then that one, so we got a teaser for a movie that, at this point, I'm not even confident would even have Venom in it in the next whatever Spider-Man movie they come up with, because of how inconsistent they've been and the fact that they've been very non-committal. Previously in the MCU, even if a movie like Iron Man 2 did really badly, they still commit to it and whatever it sets up for the next movie. Whereas now, if a movie like The Eternals or whatever happens to not do well, the Inhumans being another one, they just completely try and sweep it under the rug and pretend it never happened. Like, one of the things people always address is, where's that big thing sticking out of the ocean that I think was at the end of The Eternals that should have been in every MCU movie afterwards, but no one acknowledges. Another one that I'm really annoyed by is the fact that they haven't really acknowledged Shang-Chi very much, because I really loved that movie. That was a great one. I thought it did really well. But he seems to have been completely forgotten about in most recent MCU projects. Like, they don't even make any vague references to him. I don't know if they reference him in the Marvels. I've not seen that yet. I probably will get around to it. But I know at the end of his movie, there's a post-credits thing at 4 in showing Captain Marvel, so who freaking knows? They got this portal as well from it looks like the portals that Doctor Strange uses. And I know the TVA use a different type of portal, so I imagine I don't think Doctor Strange will make a cameo in this. We might get like Wong or like other variants of like sorcerers that helps them maybe get around between the multiverse when they get caught from the TVA. Who knows? But that, when I first watched this trailer, when I first obviously went through it, the reason I saw that scene earlier and then this, and I thought, hey, is that an evil version of like the Ancient One or something in this other multiverse from Doctor Strange? That's what I thought, but I don't think it is. Oh, here we go. Cassandra Nova, that is the character. Okay, we got Evil Xavier, okay. The character I didn't really know much about. 50th greatest comic villain of all time, okay. She was one of the funniest characters as well in the Deadpool movies. I'm glad she's back for the third one. Let's fucking go, indeed. Okay. Wait, you know what? I'm very hyped for that movie. In fact, I think it's probably the most hyped movie I've got coming up until like Joker 2, which is the other hype movie I've got coming up this year. Out of all the ones I can think of right now. So I really enjoyed Dune Part 2. So I think all the movies I'm looking forward to this year have just all been sequels, which is certainly something.